Good evening, everyone. Um, Happy Wednesday. It's Wednesday. We've been out of practice. We are returning from summer break and we are doing our first Teen Science Cafe of our new 2022-23 program year. And I'm so excited. Our Teen Science Cafe is a program of I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. I'm Takiwa Smith, founder and executive director of Science, Engineering, Mathematics Link. And I just want to welcome you to our first virtual Teen Science Cafe of the 2022-23 program year. The Teen Science Cafe is a program of our Math and Science Career Academy, whose goal is to introduce youth to STEM careers and engage them in hands on STEM activities. Our Teen Science Cafe is a program that focuses on STEM career aspiration because we want to focus on teens because that's a time in your academic year where you're thinking about your future and you can actually start making the steps. If you're in middle school, you can decide what out of school time programs you want to participate in. If you want to go to a magnet school in high school, what summer programs you can get. In high school, you think about where you want to major in college, what college you want to go to, what summer internships. These are critical decisions, and we wanted to make sure that you had examples of various STEM professionals in different fields so you can decide what you want to do and make the steps to do them way before you get on the college campus. And so I am so excited because tonight's topic is architecture. And so although people do not think architecture is a STEM profession, it actually is. Um, it requires so much STEM in various aspects. I'm not going to tell you about it. That's why we bring this architect, right? So we bring these STEM professionals to tell you about the career, give you what their journey is, what they do every day, and then a glimpse of their field. And so I am going to introduce tonight's speaker, Xena Stryker. Not only is she an architect, but she is also an entrepreneur. And so I am going to let her introduce herself and share her journey.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much to Kiwa for having this space and such an amazing Teen Science Cafe. This is so cool. I wish things like this were happening when I was a teen. And hello to all of the teens that are present today learning about STEM. You guys are ahead of the game. Learning about STEM at your age can really get you in those doors. So learning that cool software, getting prepared for college majors, applying for those Gates Millennium scholarships, those STEM scholarships, you guys are really on the money early. So you're a pretty cool crowd of kids. You seem to be very mature to be here today. So I'm happy to be in your presence. So a little bit about me. I'm Xena Stryker. I'm an architectural engineer, and yes, engineering is STEM. We use science, technology, of course, engineering and mathematics to bring to life like things that's what's behind me. So, what's behind me is a resale store that I designed, and it's for the busiest airport in the world. It's for the Atlanta airport, Hartsfield-Jackson Airport. And the way that I kind of came up with this design, it was really cool. I was in a music video for the rapper 2 Chainz, and it was decorated like this. So I said, I think I want to bring that to life for my client. And I created a store called Denim in the Atlanta airport. So architects have really cool jobs. And the reason that I chose architecture is because architecture is always affiliated with something positive. Whenever someone hires an architect, it's because something fun and good is happening. It's not related to like sadness or anything. It's always about something fun. So that's why I chose this field. And I'm going to show you a little bit of a presentation about my background. And hopefully you all can see my screen where it says investigate, design, and build. And Takiwa, I know I can't see you because I can only see my screen right now, but if you can give me a verbal yes that you can see my screen, I'll get started.
We can see your screen. Started.
All righty. So this is my firm, Xena Design and Marketing Firm. We are also known as the Atlanta Design Warriors. So when you start your own business, you can have a DBA. meaning doing business as. So like that's McDonald's, they have a DBA as Mickey D's. It's kind of like a nickname. So people call us the Atlanta Design Warriors because we rarely turn down projects. If it's like a zoo, a daycare, a theme park, we act like warriors, and we're going to do our research and figure out how to design it and bring it to life. So the way that we do that research is we investigate, we design, and we build. And not all architectural firms do this. This is like our unique selling proposition, what makes us so unique. So I'm going to show you the process. If any of you have ever gone to the Bahamas, just let me know in the chat. So this one client wanted us to design a restaurant in Atlanta, but he wanted it to have like a Bahamas type of feel. So I went to the Bahamas. As a city girl say, I got flued out to the Bahamas to investigate. So this is me having fun with everybody, even the trash guys, the guys that drove the yacht. Like I was having so much fun investigating. I was so scared because my hair was about to blow off. I can't swim. I had a life vest on, but it's okay because I came back and I started sketching. And I noticed in the Bahamas, they have these cool colors like bright orange, bright blue. In the United States, we don't really have that. So I wanted to incorporate that. They use a lot of natural resources like wood. There isn't much money for HVAC systems, so they use really, really giant fans. Of course, we still have the HVAC system, which is like your air conditioning. Central air and heat, but I still wanted to use like really, really big fans. And here is the actual build out. Now, a build out is done by a general contractor. And oftentimes the architect oversees that general contractor while they're building to make sure they stay within budget. They don't scam the client. And everything is built with on time and with quality. And once we switch from designing to overseeing that general contractor, we are known as construction administrators. So the title changes a little bit, but it's still the architect. So here's the build out. Pretty cool, huh? So if you're in Midtown Atlanta, check out Seesaw. We put the vegetation on the walls. We brought the sand from the beach, and it's a pretty cool restaurant. So just know that that is done by people who look and sound just like you, regular old people. Anybody can grow up to become a designer. You can do it. So what makes us different is we use video game software so that you can see the building before it's built. If you've ever played the video game The Sims, please let us know in the chat. Fun fact about The Sims, that was actually an architectural design software, but the owners thought that it would make more money as a video game. So they did not just let architects use it. They let you all use it as a video game. And I use that same video game software to help the client design in 3D so they can walk through their project before it's built. And here is a project I did for Central State University. That is a historically Black college or university. And I designed their Classroom Without Walls initiative. This was a paired project with another architectural firm called Harris Plus Smith in Atlanta. And check it out.
As an 1890 land-grant institution, Central State University is dedicated to its mission of academic excellence within a nurturing environment. Central State University is preparing to embark on an exciting new journey, blending technology and innovation to create state-of-the-art technology-enhanced learning environments with our Classrooms Without Walls initiative.
So everything is in-house. We add in the audio, the voiceovers, everything.
With the 21st century student in mind, classrooms will be transformed to provide an innovative, interactive, and fully immersive learning experience where students will be engaged in inviting new spaces. The modern design will be functional and productive. Rooms will include cozy and modular seating options, in addition to floor-to-ceiling writing surfaces to encourage groupthink and collaboration.
So I'm not going to play the whole thing, but this just lets you know that we use the video game software, and all of this is built at a later time. And this is Tuskegee University. I'm going to pause it for a second so help you understand why we're watching this. I attended Tuskegee University to get my professional degree of architecture. So when I was 18, I went to Tuskegee University. I had a lot of offers from FAMU, Georgia Tech, Howard University. There aren't many universities that offer architecture as a major. And please understand that architecture is very different than other majors. It's a professional degree. Just like when people want to be lawyers, they major in something else and then they go to law school. Same like with becoming a doctor. You major in something else, then you go to medical school. But with architecture, you go straight in at the age of 17 or 18, however old you are when you graduate, and you go for your professional degree. So I will be honest with you, you're not going to have a lot of time to act wild, as a freshman. You're going to be up all night drawing and being very, very, very serious. I believe 56 of us started out in my freshman class, and only 6 of us graduated. It is a very tough field, but I promise you, if you put your mind to it, you can do it. Must you know how to draw to become an architect? No. Must you be extremely good at math? No. But you will have to apply yourself in both arts and math. And when I was doing research on a university that I wanted to attend, I received a letter and a postcard in the mail that showed Tuskegee. And I saw that slavery ended in 1865, and 15 years later, Tuskegee was founded. That's why it says founded in 1881 right here. And the students actually built the campus. The students actually made these bricks and built these the buildings on the campus fresh out of slavery. And I thought that was so cool. So I decided to go to Tuskegee University. Also, Tom Joyner went there, Lionel Richie went there, Keenan Ivory Wayans went there, Malcolm X's wife went there. So many amazing people went there. Of course, the Tuskegee Airmen. Rosa Parks was born there. I'm sure you've heard about the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, and I'm sure you know about George Washington Carver, the famous botanist and scientist that created so many different things and all of his inventions with the peanut, and it was founded by the amazing Booker T. Washington. So here's a little bit about Tuskegee. So homecoming is very, very lit. So you don't want to miss homecoming if you ever get a chance to go. This year, homecoming is November 5th. But back to my firm. So our project range is both residential and commercial. Residential means homes, and commercial means businesses where you go in and you purchase or get a service done. So we have that range where we do homes, custom homes, not spec homes. Where all you ever been to a neighborhood and all the houses kind of look the same? Those are spec homes, and those are typically done by general contractors. And there's one general contractor, which is also known as a builder, where they build every home in that neighborhood, and we call those cookie cutter houses. Maybe the shutters change colors, maybe the floor plan is flipped, but it's pretty much the same house. We don't do that. We're architects and we build custom homes. You need an architect to build a custom home. A general contractor can build a spec home. And if you really want to design your house from scratch, that's what our firm does, and no one else will have the house that you have. And again, we do commercial projects, very, very fun projects, from skating rinks to you name it, theme parks. If we think we can handle that scope of work, we'll go after it. And that pretty much sums up Xena Design and Marketing Firm and the Atlanta Design Warriors. So I'm going to show you something that you can use to get started. It's a program called Google Sketchup. If you've heard of Google Sketchup, please put that in the chat. I'm going to take a small break and just check in with Takiwa before we keep going, because I know I've unloaded a lot on you guys. So we're going to just take a small break. I think you're on mute, Takiwa.
We are good to go. But I do have one question before we go that people may have asked. This is kind of a quiet group, so y'all can ask questions in the chat. What made you start your firm?
Oh, goodness. I started my firm because I felt that I had no choice but to start my firm. I worked, when I graduated from Tuskegee, we were in something called a recession, which we're kind of in right now. And that typically happens with architecture about every 10 years. So just get prepared for that. Architecture goes hand in hand with real estate. So when people don't have enough money to pay to get things built, architects don't get paid. So when I graduated, I became a high school teacher. I taught high school architecture and engineering. And then after the recession ended, I started working at different architectural firms. I noticed that when I worked at different architectural firms, there weren't many women, period. And there definitely wasn't any Black women. And so I was never able to design a whole building, meaning there were guys doing the master planning. And then when they needed help with the floor plans, they would give me a piece of the building and ask me to like draw that in AutoCAD. So I was getting like the bathroom or like part of the kitchen. And I'm just like, I don't understand the whole building because I don't have the opportunity to design a whole building. You're only handing me pieces of something. And that's when I noticed that they were kind of required to hire a certain number of minorities or a certain number of women. And I said, I see what's going on here. They hired me to meet their quota, but they're not going to give me any work and I'm not going to learn anything. I had never been able to go to a construction site. They only took the guys. So how can I learn how a building is built if I'm sitting in a cubicle and I never get to go to the construction site? This is so unfair. And there are some people that if you bring up these issues at work, and they look at you like, how dare you? You know, and they say, oh, well, do you want to work here? Because they know there's another Black girl dying to have your job, you know, or they'll look at you and say, you're being difficult. Maybe this isn't the position for you. So it was rough. And after going to 3 different firms, dealing with that over and over and over, I started taking on private clients. And randomly, I don't know how or why, my private clients were celebrities and they paid good. So I didn't have issues with checks not going through, and I was able to stay afloat. And when I started my own firm, I said, I'm going to make this a safe haven for millennials and women. so that women can get out there and go to the construction site. I'm not going to put someone on a project and then snatch them off of that project and put them on 2 or 3 more, and they never get to see that first building from start to finish. I'm not going to do that. If you start with that one, you're going to finish with that one, and you're going to go to the ribbon cutting ceremony, and you're going to meet the owner, you're going to meet the developer. It's only fair. So sometimes in life isn't fair, and you can cry about it or you can whine about it. The best thing to do is to make a difference yourself. It's no point in going telling somebody, hey, let's change this, let's change that. In the words of Nike, just do it. You just do it yourself. And I promise you, even if you feel that you don't have the knowledge or the resources, if you're passionate, the knowledge and resources will come. I promise you.
Okay, we have one question before you go on to the activity and show us how you do those fancy things. Somebody asked, are there any misconceptions about architects?
There are so many misconceptions about architects. Number one, general contractors oftentimes go out and tell people they're architects. If you were listening, please know that a general contractor is a builder. A general contractor is not an architect. I want you to think about it like this. If you get a set of Legos, if you buy a set of Legos, right? And you can build whatever you want. But if you want the Lego set to come out looking like the image on the front, there's going to be some instructions inside. And if you follow those instructions correctly, what you build will look like the image on the front of that Lego box. The person that made those instructions, that's the architect, okay? Please know that anybody with somewhat of an IQ can take the instructions and the materials and follow the instructions and build it. That does not make them a genius. That does not make them the designer. They simply follow the architect's directions. Oftentimes, general contractors are out, and the architects, we work indoors. So people don't get a chance to meet us. And they'll pull up and they'll just start talking to the general contractor. And the general contractor will take complete credit for our work, because guess what? We're not there. And general contractors will get hired to design barbershops, nightclubs, lounges, restaurants, and issues arise because the drawings have to be stamped by an architect. And when the city doesn't give the permit for occupancy, the occupancy permit means that people can go in here and it's open for business. If there aren't plans with the stamp given to the city, you're not going to get an occupancy permit. And that's when people find out that the general contractor was lying and they're not an architect. Also, you'll see the work, the quality is different. I'm sure you guys have seen all these different boutiques that are just painted pink. It's pink all over the place. Chances are a general contractor did that, and it looks shabby and kind of cheap, So please just know that that's a huge misconception. There are a lot of general contractors that walk around and want people to believe they're architects when really they did not go to college and they didn't get licensed. So they're not. Another misconception about architects, a lot of people think that architects are filthy rich. Now, the ones that are, they typically are developers, meaning they've used some of their money to invest in the things that they design and build. So they own apartment complexes, they own shopping malls, they own a lot of commercial property. But if an architect is working a day job and they don't own that firm and they're clocking in, chances are they don't have much money. So I'm just keeping it real with you. If you really want the big bucks to come to you, you're going to have to combine entrepreneurship with it, because if not, you're going to keep designing and your clients will be rich and you won't. Any more questions?
No, those are the only questions I see. So are you ready for me to put the SketchUp in the chat?
Yeah. So guys, there's this program called Sketchup. It used to be owned by Google, but now it's independently owned by Trimble. And Sketchup is free, especially if you're a student. I encourage you to download SketchUp and see what's behind me. I designed this in SketchUp and I rendered it so that it looks realistic. You can use SketchUp to design anything, whether it's if you want to be an engineer, you want to design a cool product, if you want to design a car, if you want to design your dream home, if you want to design a video game like Mario Kart, it doesn't matter. You can use SketchUp. So I want to show you all a little bit about SketchUp and hopefully you will enjoy it. And this software is absolutely free. So please learn it while it's free. A lot of my old heads know why I said that. When we started using Microsoft Word, it was free and we got hooked on it. And then they waited and they started charging us for it. The same with AutoCAD. AutoCAD used to be free and we got hooked on it and they started charging us for it. So SketchUp is in this last couple of years of being free. Get it while you can. Trust me. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. So we're in SketchUp. So this little guy right here, this is the old version of SketchUp. This is like 2017. So you guys are going to be using a much newer version. 2022 is great, but this is old school, but the same rules apply. So if you're wondering why this guy is here, he's just here for scale. And what I mean by scale is the human eye, we only know if things are big or small if something is standing next to it. Like your TV, you don't know if your TV is big or small unless there's something next to the TV. So that's why we have him here just for scale. At any moment, you can click on this and delete. You know, so you can always use this bar up here and edit, undo. This toolbar up here shows different views. This angle view is called isometric. It's basically just an angled view of whatever you're designing. And if you look at the house and you're looking from the top, looking straight down, that is your top view. From the front, that is your front view. And you have your right side view, your back view, and your left side view. The cool thing about SketchUp, if you hover over any of these tools, it'll tell you what they do. So that's the cool part about SketchUp. So what we're going to do is design a simple house. Matter of fact, I'm going to try to design the house that we're looking at in this toolbar. So the easiest way for me to do it is to click the top view. See what just happened? We just switched to the top. That man was 2D. He wasn't 3D. So that line is actually that man. If you ever want to move around your screen, you hit the hand and it pans around. Meaning we're not changing the size. We're not zooming in and out. We're just moving around. If you ever want to scroll, zoom, you just use the wheel and go in and out. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this rectangle where it says shapes, grab the rectangle, and we're going to click one point, and then we'll click the other point. And there it is. So let's go to our isometric view. There's your house. All right. So again, the only thing we did was I'll go back. We went to the top view. I clicked the rectangle button. I actually drew a square. Once I was done, click the isometric view. We're going to use the best tool ever in SketchUp. It's called the push-pull tool. So you click this push-pull tool and you hover over the rectangle and you'll see the dots. That's how you know you're in the active push-pull. You click one time and you just pull. And you just stop it wherever you want to stop it. So, boom, stop it there. Whenever you want to deactivate a tool, you just click the arrow button. So now we can just circle around. You see, you got your big old square, right? So we're going to make the front of this look like this front view right here. So let's click. Now we're at the front view. So the first thing I guess that would be easiest to do is to put that door there. Can anybody guess what tool we're going to use to make that door? If you were thinking a rectangle tool, you're correct. We're going to grab that rectangle tool and we'll just click one part and just click the other. Right, so let's go back to isometric. So I have a little bit too much room on the right side. I'm going to grab that push-pull tool and push it over just a little bit. Let's go back to that front view. Still a little uneven. I'll push it in just a little bit more. All right, and so let's go back to this isometric view. You see how that door is moved in? See those little dots? And we're going to push that door back a little bit. Now you got yourself a door. All right. So what's different? The view has a roof. All right. So how are we going to draw this roof? I'm going to lower this a little bit, just a little bit. I think the best thing to do is to grab this pencil. Now, the cool part about this is you see those green dots that says endpoint. But if we drag it, we'll get to the middle where it says midpoint. So I can click the midpoint and draw a line straight up. And then we'll go over here. And then we'll go over here. All right. So let's get the eraser and get rid of the lines that we don't need. Let's get rid of this one. Okay. So we're going to orbit around and we're going to grab that push-pull tool and we're going to pull this back and snap to that endpoint. All right, let's go back to isometric. So we're on the back side. Let's go to the front side. All right, so we're getting close. We're getting pretty close. So I noticed that this roof has somewhat of an overhang. So let's go to that front view. We're going to use this tool right here called the offset tool. Let's click that. And we have those dots so we know it's activated. And we're going to kind of come out just a little bit. See, this is too thick. That overhang is a little bit thinner. So we'll go about right there. Boom. Now let's go back to the isometric view. You see what we got? So I think it'll be smart to get rid of the lines that we don't need. We don't need this one. And we don't need this one. Anybody guess what we're going to do next? You guessed it. We're going to grab that push-pull tool and we're going to pull that overhang. Messed up, undo. We're going to pull that overhang back. And we're going to snap. Actually, it overhangs a little bit further. So we'll pull it back this way a little bit more and get rid of this unnecessary line. And we have a little funny shape. So get rid of that. Same on this side. All right. All those unnecessary lines, you're going to find out why we get rid of them when we use the paint bucket tool. Because the paint bucket tool will make it stop, you know. But this is pretty simple. When you're drawing, you're just pushing and pulling. And you may say, I cannot believe people get paid to do this. Yeah, because not everybody can read floor plans. And some architects will pay people like you, teens like you, to turn their 2D floor plan into a 3D rendering. And all you're doing is this. You just taking it from 2D to 3D so that them and their clients can see it in 3D. Why do people need to see it in 3D? So they can understand it. The bank even requires to see this in 3D before they give the loan. Because if the bank doesn't understand what you're talking about, they're not going to give you the loan for construction. All right. So we're pretty close to the house that we saw in our views. I see something that they have. It's a little chimney. So how can we draw this chimney? Well, we can grab the rectangle or we can grab the pencil. I'm going to just grab the pencil. And I'll just pick a spot and I'll go up. I'm going to stay on the axis to make sure I'm not going at a weird angle. And I'm just clicking. Turn solid, right? So I'm going to use that push-pull tool. And it's somewhere like there. Just push that front part. And remember, we like to get rid of the unnecessary lines. All right. So now you got your little house. So we're going to lastly add our materials. We don't have to be boring like the materials here. We can add whatever we want. So we can add some wood to this door. And you're just clicking over there and you're clicking in here. We can find some roofing, add some shingles there. And the reason why we got rid of those unnecessary lines, because I'll show you. If there was a line there and we added the roofing, you see that? It stops. So you always want to get rid of the unnecessary lines. There you go. And let's see, you get some siding. Well, completely up to you. Whatever you want to do. And that's pretty much how it goes. Just know that you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to add a window, you just add it just like that. If you want to add glass or some type of translucent material, and now you can see inside. So you have learned the basics of Google SketchUp, and it's just as simple as I showed you. We have plugins, like what's up here is a plugin that will turn this into a photorealistic rendering. And I use Inkscape or Lumion. Please, please, please capitalize off of Inkscape and Lumion while you're a student. Lumion is so expensive. Lumion costs about, I think, $3,000 to $5,000, but you can get it absolutely free because you're in school. Lumion is way better than Inkscape, but this is Inkscape. And all you do is you click and it'll push it into an engine and it will render it. You can walk through this in real time. You can cut sections so that people can see what's inside. Again, this is where the big bucks come. Oftentimes, people that make renderings make more money than architects. So if you don't want to be an architect and you just want to do what I just did to make money on the side, that can be your full career. So it's completely up to you. I'm gonna hand this back over to Kiwa because I'm pretty much done.
Okay, so that was pretty cool. So my question is, okay, like you see the plans, right? So how are, I'm going to come back and I'm going back to this 3D, but I'm just going back to like seeing the architectural plans. like the 2D plans that need the stamp. How were those developed? Like, because you said architects don't have to draw, so how are those 2D plans created?
We use a software called AutoCAD or Revit, and you're basically just moving your mouse and you're just drawing lines and using a little bit of math. And so the days of hand drawing stopped like around 1986 or so. I've worked at firms where there are older architects that are about 80 years old that don't know how to use a computer. So they'll still draw and they will hand the drawings to someone like me, and I will digitize them and I will put them in a computer for them. So there are some architects that don't even know how to check their email because they're super smart, but technology happened. And they just looked up one day and said, oh my God, I don't know how to use that computer. What is the World Wide Web? And of course, they're so smart that we still need them. And architecture firms can't run without them, you know? So they just hired younger talent and we do what they can't do. And they teach us what we don't know. So to answer your question, we use AutoCAD, Revit. Some people, engineers use SolidWorks, MicroStation. Some people use Chief Architect. And you just draw just like I did in the 3D version, but in a 2D version.
Okay. And then like with the 3D version, because I saw how you added different things to it. Um, what is okay, let's go back. You did that building, right?
Yeah.
But the design that you showed us in the beginning, you know, it moved, it had music.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make that level of 3D drawings?
Yes. So what you're going to do is you're going to export the 3D thing that I just created in SketchUp. You're going to export that into an engine, whether that's Lumion, Twin Motions, Inkscape, or whatever, and it makes it realistic. And you start setting your angles. I want this angle, click. I want this angle, click. And then you set the speed. So it's like you're taking pictures with a cell phone. And it starts just moving from frame to frame. That's it. And then once you get done, you export that out into an MP4. And it's a video. Then you hand it to an animator. And the animator adds the music. And animator can add the sound effects. You can get on Fiverr and hire a voiceover person. Just say, hey, I need a woman with a British accent that's around the age of 40 years old. And then you type up what she needs to say, and you can pay someone $80 and they'll say it. And then you will just sync her audio to your movie. And then you add the music and the sound effects, and you add a couple of animations, and you're done.
Okay.
I'm sorry, that's complex.
No, it's fine. You brought up an interesting point saying that architects can work with animators. What are the other professionals that architects work with to get a project done?
We work with everyone. We work with everyone because we cannot design for someone if we don't understand them. So if I'm designing a horse ranch, I'm going to work with a veterinarian. I cannot design for horses if I don't understand what it takes for a horse to live, if I don't understand the basic needs of a horse, you know. Like I said, adding in music, there are musicians that, depending on what the project is, I will call Beethoven. I will call whoever to put in the appropriate music to make the presentation right. I work with the mayor. Where all of the mayors in Atlanta know me. We're all connected on LinkedIn. When citizens pay taxes and something is going to get built in the city of Atlanta, it is only fair that the citizens see what they spent their money on. So way before the building is built, they need a rendering. So I'll work with the mayor. I'll work with the city council members. I'll work with everyone, and things can get very political. They'll let me know what colors I can and can't put in. If I'm doing something for Georgia Tech, their colors are blue and gold. They'll let me know I can't use red and white because their rival is University of Georgia. I can't have those colors anywhere in the presentation. Like literally we work with everybody, and that's why architects know everybody, and we slick know a little bit about everything, because with the new project comes new research and learning someone's career in a matter of months.
Are there any other STEM disciplines that you can think of? You say you work with everybody, which I didn't even think about, like the politicians and government officials that you
Yeah.
have to work with, but it makes sense. But what other STEM professionals do you work with within your?
Uh, So, like when I designed that thing for Central State University, we didn't get to it, but there was a science lab that I designed. I'm not a scientist. In order for me to design a science lab, I had to learn, the different sinks and eye wash stations and things that are required. I have to learn. When I designed a microblading center in Atlanta, the two people that are going to come out and check is not just the city, but the board of cosmetology. The state board of cosmetology has to come out. So I had to learn that microblading is a form of tattooing. So I had to know that, like when the faucets turn on, I think the water has to run for 20 seconds straight without being cut off, just in case there's an accident and someone can't see. There can't be any porous surfaces, meaning everything had to be hard, no curtains and stuff like that. So I had to learn from the different sciences, like I said, state board regulators. It's all science, and it's no one's gonna sit and wait on me to like figure it out and learn. No, I'm up all night with books, like learning what are the requirements, even with daycare centers. Right from the start, Georgia Head Start or whatever, I had to learn like, okay, the glass in the daycare has to be child shatterproof. I mean, I can go on and on. Even the thickness of the playground mulch has to be a certain thickness. It's like we have so many rules in our head that you just have to just know off jump, and after a while it just gets stored. So we are always going to experts getting their information. So yeah, with STEM professionals, I don't even know where to start or where to end. We're always calling them STEM professionals.
Um, the question that I have, another question is like, what? And you may have answered this, but I don't know because you started straight from college, and I'm all a FAMU alum, so I'm like, she added all these HBCUs.
That's
But
where I was headed. I was headed to FAM. I was.
Yeah, we have a really good architecture school,
Mm-hmm.
but I was like, she did Tuskegee over FAMU. Not the school. The school is good, but the city itself, like you have to really be focused.
Yeah.
I was like, she must have really wanted to be an architect to graduate.
Honestly, I didn't go on a college tour or anything. I just showed up, for freshman orientation. Had I gone on a college tour, I probably would not have attended. I remember my sister and my mom going down there to do something for me. I don't know if they were turning in like my house and stuff. And when they came back, they were just laughing. And I was like, what's so funny? And they were like, you gonna have to get a boyfriend or something because you're gonna be down there so bored. And I was like, what do you mean? And they wouldn't go into detail about it because I guess they thought I was gonna back out. But they were just like, you're gonna have to find something, join a dance line. You're gonna have to do something because you'll see. And when I went, I was like, oh my God. Like, what in the world?
So, what are some of the things that may have happened in your childhood that you noticed that made you think, oh, I can be an architect, like as you were growing up?
Well, my childhood was very, very, very different. My father played a very vital role in my life, but he actually did that from prison. And I know a lot of kids have the same story as me. That's why I'm not embarrassed to tell it, because a lot of people don't tell it and then they feel alone. But my father, he was in prison, and he wanted me to make really good decisions, and he wanted me to have the best. And while he was there, he came up with the idea that I was going to be an architect and I was going to carry our family's legacy. And that's how I was named Xena with an X, because he was Nation of Islam and he followed Malcolm X. And when he got out, he taught me how to draw. And his job, once leaving, he was a courtroom sketch artist. So he would draw the plaintiff and a defendant. And I just thought that was so cool. And that's when I learned the different medias, like color pencil and ink versus marker, rapidograph and ink, or just stippling and cross hatching. My father taught me those things. So if there are any kids listening and you may, I don't know what it's like growing up feeling a little bitter because you feel like the other kids, they're a lot more privileged than you are, or their parents have more money, or they're in these cliques and you're not in those cliques. It doesn't matter, because what my father gave me, a lot of my friends didn't receive because their parents were so busy politicking or creating this image or this facade, and the kid was left, with no one that fed into them. And my father gave me so much self-esteem, and he gave me the courage. He would say, sign up for that art competition, it's free. And he would say, even if you don't win, you still have fun. And I started signing up for things, and I started to soar in Skills USA. I went to nationals with FBLA and won, and all of those things make you a prime candidate because I hate to use the word humble, because if you look up the definition, that's not something that you really want to be affiliated with. It really makes you down to earth. It makes people like you and want to be around you. There were a lot
teach
of
you social skills so you can know how to interact with these people. Yeah.
Yes. Some of the kids that were given everything, y'all know how they are. They're snobbish. They're big fish in a little pond. They're not used to adversity, and they get out to college, and after sophomore year, they flunk out, not because the curriculum was hard, but just because everything wasn't all about them. They were very narcissistic, and they found out it was a big world and everything isn't their way. They didn't quite make it. So me growing up, my experience was very, very, he just always wanted me to be a very down-to-earth person. And I've won a lot of architecture bids because sometimes it'll take 3 years to design and build a building. And people would rather spend time with me than that other person that may have been a better designer than me, but they just didn't like that other person. It was like, ain't no way I'm gonna be with that person for 3 years. I'll deal with Xena for 3 years. And so my personality and me being understanding got me hired a lot. And I'm just a hard worker because I know what it's like to grow up, in poverty or without parental support. And I know to go the extra mile, where some people do things one time and think that's just enough. So growing up, I went through a lot, and it all paid off.
But you made a good point, because I think that when we talk about the things that we learn growing up that make us interested in science or good at what we do, we think about the technical stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we don't always think about the competitions,
Mm-hmm.
our ability to build relationships and connections, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
that is just as important as your technical skill.
Those are
Because
your
you could
soft
have,
skills.
yeah, because you could have all the skill in the world and nobody likes talking to you. You can't communicate, right? So
Right.
those are important things. Another point that you thought of, whether it is your parents, or just another adult, how it is important to have an adult that encourages you to try things, right? If they see that you're interested in pushing you in that direction, and how important that is. So I'm going to mention something, and then I'm going to have you close us out. So I am about to put a survey in the chat. So whether you're watching it live or on YouTube, please take a few moments to complete this survey. It allows us to know what to bring you. Lets us know how you enjoyed Xena, although we know she was awesome, because I love this presentation. But we just need that feedback to continue to provide this for you, and to continue to get financial support from sponsors and donors for it. So I'm going to put that in the chat. So my last question is, what advice would you give to anybody, any teenager, whether they're in middle and high school, on what are the things they need to do now? Can they do now and when they're in college to pursue a career in architecture?
My advice to anyone listening, I really think you should make two lists. One, make a list of everything that makes you different. And when you make that list of, and not everything, I would just say five key things that make you different, you know? And with those five different things that make you different, write down how each of those can make you money. Okay. And because that's probably what's going to make you rich. Whatever those five things are that make you different, write down how each can make you money and keep that throughout life. I promise you, that's probably how you're going to become a millionaire. And even if it's something that people pick on you about, that's probably what's going to make you a millionaire. Like my siblings always thought that I was weird because I had a big imagination and I would get bullied because of it. But people hire me because of my big imagination. So whatever you're getting bullied about is probably your meal ticket. So write down five things that make you different and how you can make money off of them. Another list, please know that you can't get anywhere in life by yourself. And there's going to be some times where you feel very, very alone, but you're never alone. There's always someone that's helping you that you probably take for granted. Please write down the top five people that support you through thick and thin. That can be a great uncle, great aunt, that weird art teacher, that one mentor that won't leave you alone. It doesn't matter. Write down the five people that have your back like Cairo Pratt and just rank them on a scale of 1 to 10 of how much they support you. It can be your best friend. It can be whatever. And if they're ranked at a number 5 or number 4, write down what you can do to bring them to a number 10 because you're going to need support. So again, just write down the 5 people that have your back. And these are your rocket boosters, the people that support you no matter what, and rank how much they help you on a scale of 1 to 10. So if they're at a 6, write whatever you need to do. It's like, do you need to ask more help? Do you need to have monthly check-ins with them? Do you need to offer them more help and support? And again, you're doing this because in order for you to be successful in life, you're going to need advocators. These aren't just people that support you, but these are people that bring opportunities to you. These are people that write letters of support. These are people that back you up when somebody's talking smack. These are people that think of you when there's an opportunity to make money. So make sure you do that. And other than that, just stay positive and remember why you started. There are going to be times where you forget when you were this age that you wanted to do this cool stuff, but never forget why you started.
Thank you so much. And I'm going to add one thing. Remember that some of the best architectural programs are at historically Black colleges and universities. So always think HBCU. Just my plug. Because I know it's FAM, it's Tuskegee, it's a few others, but when I think about architecture,
we
a
got
lot of the top are too.
Tuskegee, Howard, Hampton, and there's a school in Texas, please forgive me, and one more in Maryland. So there's only 6 HBCUs that have architecture. I'm sorry, it's Southern that has it, and there's one more in Maryland. I think it's Bowie, but it's those 6. So you have your pick of 6.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. This is so amazing. I always love your drawings because I can't draw on the computer or on paper. So if you have a big imagination, like Xena said, if you have great people skills, if you like to do technical skills on the computer, then consider architecture. And it will be a great STEM discipline. People don't always think it is, but it is for you to do. So you can help make our world have beautiful buildings that are sound, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much. And everyone, have a great night. And we will see you at the next Teen Science Cafe.
Bye.
Bye.